I want to give a huge thanks to PTCGO Store for sponsoring the channel. PTCGO Store is a great website where you are able to buy Pokemon trading card game online codes at some of the best prices. Now, of course, able to order Sword and Shield Rebel Clash codes. Be sure to use code CHIP5 at checkout to get 5% off your order, or click the link in my description below. Once again, that is code CHIP5 to get yourself 5% off your order. Thanks, PTCGO Store. What is going on, guys? Chip here. Welcome back to another Pokemon TCG online video, where today I'm going to be doing something actually a little different. I'm going to be doing a tour of my PTCGO account. Now, I've been playing PTCGO since about late 2015. I got into the game right around the time that Ancient Origins was coming out, so that's late 2015, right after Worlds 2015. I didn't start playing in events and stuff until Breakthrough came out. The actual first tournament that I went to was the weekend that Breakthrough was legal, X and Y Breakthrough, but Ancient Origins is when I started, kind of collecting Pokemon cards and, definitely started playing the online game a little bit before I went to my first in real life tournament. So I've been playing about that long, just under 5 years that I have put into this account, and I have traded for a ton of, rare cards, expensive cards, as far as, the in-game currency being packs goes. Some of these cards I'm sure would sell for a lot of real life money, though that is something you should not do. It's against terms of service. People do it all the time though, but it is, yeah. I mean, I get comments all the time whenever I've done my live streams and stuff about the blingy cards that I have. I definitely used to trade very hard for, like, full bling max rarity. I've kind of backed off on that a little bit because there's just so many gold cards nowadays when the new sets comes out. And it's also a lot harder to trade and flip cards on the in-game trade system than it used to be back in, like, 2015, 2016. So yeah, this is going to be the tour of my PTCGO account. I hope that me doing this will bring other people out to do tours of their PTCGO accounts. I think it's really interesting to see the cards that people have collected over the years. What are some of their memories of, like, having hard cards to get and all of that stuff. So before we look at the, not challenges, I don't want to look at challenges. And also let's get some music rolling here. Before we get into the actual cards, I wanted to take a little time to look at some statistics. As you can see, I have total time played 57 days, so that counts it by hours. I'm just going to do 57 times 24. That is 1,368 hours played on PTCGO. That's kind of crazy to think about. I mean, that is over the course of 4.5-ish years. So maybe a little reasonable. I've been a competitive player in the past, so whenever I was grinding before a tournament, PTCGO is the best way to test, either on the ladder or with some friends in, like, a Discord call or something like that. So yeah, 57 days of playtime, a total of 8,300 games played, almost 8,400 games. Upset wins, 826. I don't actually know how this statistic is quantified. Is that, like, you were behind on prizes and came back and won? I definitely was behind in more than 826 of these 8,000 games, I feel like, at some point in the game, right? So I'm not sure actually how that is quantified, but you can see the total cards drawn, total damage done, over to almost 3 million damage, which is pretty crazy. I've taken almost 3 million damage as well, not quite, about 200,000 less, it seems. And then we'll look at collection stats. As you can see, I actually don't have any complete sets. I've never really been a complete set grinder. I know a lot of people are, and I respect it. I think it's super cool, people who collect for, like, complete sets, and it's definitely a grind, especially for a lot of the older sets, to try to get some of these cards. But it's just never something I've really done personally. I mostly just collect cards that, I'm going to be playing with, or that I think, I could see myself playing with, either in Standard or Expanded, and then a little bit of Legacy. I have played a bit of Legacy in the past, but definitely never got super hard into it like a lot of people in the past had, just because it is kind of hard to trade for some of the cards. So, total different cards owned, 8,000. Total cards owned, 56,000. That's crazy. 10,000 of those being foil cards, and the most of one card is Water Energy Black and White 107, which I'm pretty sure is a League promo from Black and White base set. So we'll take a look at that when we get there. But yeah, there's the statistics. Let's go ahead and hop over to the collection here And yeah, I just want to show off some of the cards that I have that I think... I'll start, I guess, with the cards that I think people would consider rare, valuable, like hard to obtain. So let's start with Regirock here, the X and Y promo. This card, as you can see, I have 4 trade-locked versions of them and 3 tradable versions. At one point, I did have 4. I think I traded one. I don't even remember what for, a long time ago, for probably a full... I think that's how I got my full art Darkrai Dark Explorers, which I'll show off in a little bit, was by trading one of these, which at the time I thought was a pretty good deal. Both were worth about like 60 packs. This card right now is worth well over 100 packs on PTCGO, because the only way you could obtain it is through the online in-game item shop, or with gyms if you lived in a country that supported gyms. So if we go to the item shop here, back in 2016, 2017, they used to have bundles in the shop that would be 3-pack blisters where you could pay 600 coins as opposed to 200 coins. You would get all 3 booster packs and the promo card that came with them, and usually like a coin or something like that as well. Maybe it was 650 coins. I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time, but that was the way on PTCGO that they released a lot of the promo cards before they started putting the codes in the blister packs. So Regirock was a Roaring Skies promo, but did not have a code in the blister pack. So I bought my 4. I used to always save my coins and just always buy, you know, the promo cards that were in the shop. I've got several other ones that are similar to that are blister promos that were never available with a code, or you had to either buy with gyms. So to get tradable versions of these cards is very expensive. This card is probably going to cost you, even though it's not very playable, probably going to cost you at least 40 to 50 packs minimum to try to get it. And Regirock being a very playable card makes it much more desirable, because it makes it much more expensive as far as packs go. So this is definitely a really expensive one. As you can see, I do have 3 tradable copies of it. There was a while when they did a thing on like Wednesdays or Thursdays, I think, where if you won a certain amount of games on the ladder, they spun a wheel for you and you were able to have an opportunity to get one of these like really hard to get promo cards as a tradable copy, as kind of like their way to like inject more copies of these cards into the game, because I think they foresaw that it was going to be an issue and hard for people to get. And so I think that's how I obtained most of these. And then I think I obtained like 1 or 2 via that. And then I also traded for a couple of them because I wanted to get tradable copies, because I knew this card was good. And I knew that this is a card that, you know, if they stopped doing things like that, it would be definitely something that was difficult to get their hands on. So, yeah, we might have to pull up some old trades and see if we can find the old trades that I did for these guys. So that's probably the most expensive, like, regular... And when I say expensive, I'm not necessarily talking about real-life money. I'm talking about in-game currency being packs, and that's really how value is equated in the Pokemon trading card game online, is how many packs is something worth. So let's go ahead and go like this. We're gonna go expansion oldest. Let's go oldest to newest, and we're gonna look at some of the old cards I have. I haven't, like I said, I didn't dive super hard into Legacy. I played some Yveltal Eggs and Ninetales Amoonguss. Those were kind of my 2 go-to decks in the Legacy format when it first came out, but I definitely tried to pick up some of these cards to build certain decks. I never quite got around to finishing it though, so yeah, we've got some super cool legend pieces here. You can see, like, I've got locked versions of some. I've got tradable versions of others. These are usually, I either went out of my way and tried to trade for one. I was planning to trade for more, but just didn't quite get around to it. Or I opened up tradable packs that you used to be able to get from Legacy tournaments on PTCGO. They do not have Legacy tournaments anymore. I would love it if they brought them back, but they do not have them anymore. So we've got like a Rayquaza Deoxys legend piece here, which is pretty sweet. I've got 4 Mew Primes, 3 of them being tradable, 1 trade locked. Mew Prime, definitely a solid one. 1 Gengar Prime, 5 Machamp Primes, which is pretty funny. I think there was like actually a bundle in the shop for a while where you could get Machamp Primes alongside some Triumphant packs, and so anytime I was buying Triumphant packs to try to get Junk Arms and stuff like that, or Celebi Primes, that's the way I would do it. Speaking of which, I do have 1 Celebi Prime, so I never really got around to playing Verzi and Genesect with Celebi in Legacy, because I never got my hands on enough of this guy, but definitely a very solid card, very pretty card. Love this, and would have liked to have gotten more of these things. As you can see, I have 3 Palkia and Dialga top half legend pieces and 1 bottom piece. Pretty funny. You can definitely tell I've opened up a good amount of locked triumphant packs from the shop, trying to get things like Junk Arm and Celebi Prime. But have proven to be pretty difficult. We've got a Victini here, the Fliptini Victory Star. This is one of my favorite full arts. I love this card. Victini is just such a cool Pokemon as well, but this full art just looks super, super good. Never got around to trading for some full art Mewtwo's. Definitely a Pokemon I always wanted to pick up. It's not as playable now as it used to be, but when I first started playing, this card was definitely still a one of in a lot of expanded decks. Even more in some cases, like Raikou Eels, would play 1 or 2 a lot of the time. Yveltal Maxis played 1 most of the time as well. Trevenant even played 1 Mewtwo EX for a while. So, yeah, never got around to getting one of those. We've got a few secret rare Pokemon here. Some Zoroark, Foul Play, very playable card, definitely. Full art Darkrai EX, love this artwork, love it. Honestly, I think it's probably one of the most iconic Black-White era full arts, definitely one that people will always recognize. Very valuable online and in real life as far as, monetary value would go. I'm not as up to date on a lot of the values of these cards as I have been in the past. Like I said, haven't been a trade grinder in a long time, just because it's gotten so hard to get a lot of the pieces. 2 Mew EX full arts. We've got 3 Ho-Oh EX full arts. Rayquaza. I love the art on this card. Rayquaza is one of my favorite Pokemon. I'm sure you guys are aware. I spent a lot of time playing Mega Rayquaza EX, so I think because of that, Rayquaza just kind of naturally became one of my favorites, and love the artwork on that card there. We got 2 Keldeo EX. 4 Stoutland here. This is actually a pretty hard card to get because it is very, key in the Shocklock deck in the expanded format. A few other secret rares here. Terrakion, sadly never been that playable as long as I've been playing, but it used to be a very good card. Excuse me, back in like 2012, things like that. 2 secret rare Blastoise. Definitely love having this whenever I play Arceus and Expanded. This card looks so good. Love it, love it, love it. We've got, let me continue down here. I've got myself 1 secret rare Garbodor. Wouldn't have minded ever getting a second one, but anytime I was playing Expanded, I always would use this card because anytime I was playing a Garbodor deck in Expanded, I would always use this card because it is just so pretty. We've got 2 Jirachis. This is definitely something that was hard to get for a long time. 4 Executes, another thing very difficult to trade for a long time as far as pack value goes. Dusknoir, Sinister Hand. This is actually something that a follower gave me over on Twitch while I was live streaming. I was building a Dusknoir deck in the expanded format, and they were like, hey, I'm going to get you the hookup on a couple of secret rare Dusknoirs, so I'm always appreciative. There are definitely a lot of these cards that we'll look at that have come from followers and subscribers in the past, people who've wanted to donate cards to my collection, which I'm so appreciative for. Then we're getting down into the more modern era, Flashfire, and you'll start to see as we get down further, this is where I was playing more competitively, so, I have 4 Seismitoads. These are all cards I was definitely picking up at the time that they were coming out. Secret rare Manectrix, full art Manectrix. Now, I wasn't picking these up at the time they were coming out, but I picked these up because I was playing at the time that they were standard legal. We got the 4 full art Wailords. Everybody loves the whale, am I right? Primal Groudon. Even Sharpedo EX, I ended up getting 4 of this guy because whenever this card came out, I did a video on Mega Sharpedo, and I'm pretty sure I posted the video where I won 0 games in the video. The deck was terrible, but I was just trying to put some content out back then at the time. Same thing with Mega Camerupt here. When Mega Camerupt came out, I did a video on this. This guy was much better. It was much, much better than Sharpedo, but still pretty bad, honestly. But yeah, as we just continue on here, now we get into Roaring Skies. So this is where a lot of these are cards that I would have pulled from codes over the years because, I used to, whenever I first got into the game kind of around Ancient Origins, so Roaring Skies was still the next newest set, so I was buying a lot. Honestly, the first couple months I was into Pokemon, I probably spent way too much money on sealed product at like Walmart and card shops and stuff like that because I was addicted to opening packs and So I was always putting the codes in, and I would open the codes again on PTCGO as opposed to trading them because I didn't know how trading and all that stuff really worked. But, you know, here we are today. I do have 4 regular art shamans that are trade locked. I definitely have gotten these from the ladder over the years. 4 full art shamans that are tradable. I traded for those back whenever it was, you know, 3 or 4 of in most decks. And then the 4/4 Mega Rayquaza line, this is a special one to me because I spent so much time playing this deck, and one of my favorite Pokemon, and I love this full art. And I love this full art as well, and it's definitely the most success I've ever had with Pokemon was with Mega Rayquaza. I got myself top 8 at Regionals, I got 9th place bubbling at Regionals with Mega Rayquaza, and then I got top 64 at another one with Mega Ray, where I threw one of my early rounds that was on stream. I played very badly, and I definitely could have been in day 2 of that tournament as well, but the past is in the past. As you can see, I've got tons of full arts for Ancient Origins, because like I said, this is kind of when I got into things. The full art Hoopas, Machamp EX. I remember a Machamp Ariados deck that I thought was so good. One of the first decks that I built online. And then Giratina EX here. One of the other first decks I remember building was Giratina EX with Vileplume from Ancient Origins. Item locking with Vileplume, and then special energy and stadium locking with Chaos Wheels. Super fun. I actually played this to Georgia States, where I was like X and 2, I think, and needed to win my last 2, or I was like X1-1, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I was basically in a position where if I won my last 2 rounds, I would make top 8. And then I ended up losing both of those rounds, unfortunately. Really close games. But that was like the first year I was playing competitively. I definitely was pretty bad back then. Did not make optimal decisions a lot of the time, I am sure. But, you know, past is in the past. And we're going to just get down here. I mean, we see a lot of the XY era stuff. If it's been playable, I probably have it in full art as well, especially from this era. As we get to the Sun and Moon era, my game is kind of freezing here because there's so much it's trying to load. You know, so I was definitely like super hard, even like Alakazam EX, like I probably gave like several packs for these a piece when it came out because it was very hyped when it came out, and I made a video on it, I'm sure. I don't remember exactly, but then cards that just ended up not being very good or very valuable, like these are probably worth less than a pack a piece, I would imagine, on PTCGO currently. But then we get to evolutions, and now we're getting into the more modern era with Sun and Moon. And I'm going to go ahead and just scroll all the way down here. Like I said, you can probably imagine if it's playable, I've probably got it, and I've probably got most of the full arts as far as Pokemon goes. I don't necessarily have all of the full art Pokemon that I would like to have. You know, some of them I don't have in full art. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, but that usually I'll just go trade for them if I'm trying to do a video on them, and I don't have the full art yet. So we got 2 Jirachis here, 2 trade locked ones. I got really lucky when Team Up came out to get some trade locked guys. Dang, this is taking a while. We're not even onto the trainers and stuff yet. Oops, let's scroll back up. I wanted to show the Dedenne GXs. I scrolled too fast. It's kind of crazy how laggy this gets because of how much there is trying to load onto the screen right now. There we go. We got 4 full art Dedennes, one of the most desirable cards right now, for good reason. Dede Change, insane ability, definitely very strong, and it's going to be good as long as it exists, honestly. I have 6 Rowlet Executors. I don't exactly know how this happened, but here we are. We've got 6 Rowlet and Alolan Executors, 3 Keldeos. This was really good for a while. This card has dropped in value drastically since Pokemon V have come out. And then just continuing on, we see Cosmic Eclipse. I've got a ton of these full art basic Pokemon. We got, you know, the ADP, of course, Charizard and Braixen. I always tried to get, I used to go for the hyper rares or the rainbow rares when Sun and Moon first came out. Like, I think my Lurantises and Laprases might still be rainbow rares. I'd never ended up trading down. But I had a lot of issues with that where people were like having a hard time seeing my cards whenever I was making videos and streaming. So I ended up trying to downgrade, I don't know what you would consider it, a lot of them. But yeah, as you can see, like a lot of these I still just have, like I don't have full art Laprases, I have rainbow rare Laprases because at the time, that's what I was going for, was the rainbow rares. Same with like Tauros, but I did end up getting 4 of that guy. Lurantis, like I said, rainbow rares as well. So yeah, that's the Pokemon there. Let's go look at the promos real fast. I want to show that because I do think I have some rare other promos that might be trade locked. So we're going to load in. Okay. Up to the top, we've got 6 Typhlosion Prime. Definitely a big one in the Legacy format. Not big, but like, something. These cards are definitely kind of hard to get. You can get tradable versions of these, the Yveltal and the Xerneas. I think they're a little, especially when they were playable at least, they were much more desirable. And you'll see a lot of these I have that are locked. These are like gym promos. When I say gym promos, meaning you could only get them if you purchased them with gyms or if you purchased them from the item shop. So getting tradable versions, the only way to get a tradable version was with gyms, and so that makes them very hard to get. So something like this Ditto here, definitely a plausible one of that you could play in an expanded deck at some point. Decent ability if this Pokemon's your active, you can use the attacks of your opponent's active Pokemon. You still need the necessary energy, so if you're expecting a lot of like a certain mirror, definitely a playable card. But it's very difficult to get because it was a gym promo, so unless you were playing at the time and bought it from the item shop, you're not going to have this card. We got a Delibird here. I actually have no idea how I have this card. I don't even know what S1509 Red Star promo means, but I've got this card. Trade locked. Who knows? I showed the Celebi Sableye was something alongside that. That came out. This card ended up never being playable. I thought it was actually a really cool attack, but it was never good. Celebi did see some fringe play in some like rogue decks and stuff like that. We got some more trade locked ones. I feel like some of these are very hard to get tradable versions of. They were in the shop for very limited times. I remember when this was in the shop, I had like just spent all of my coins on something else, and I was like, dang, I need to try to grind before this leaves the shop, and I never ended up getting the other 3 Bubble Froakie promos, so that was a disappointing one to miss out on for me. But then now you can see we get into tradable versions of most of these promos because they started being released with the blister packs, and therefore not releasing them in the item shop. So, all right, let's go ahead and hop over to the trainers here. I'm going to just go ahead and go with the holo filter, and we will go oldest to newest. Man, my computer is really, or the game is really not liking all these shiny cards on the screen at once. So right off the bat, you see we've got 4 full art in, 4 full art Skyla. Skyla definitely getting reprinted in the newest set, so we could definitely see a big spike in this card. I've got 3 computer search, but 2 of them are trade locked, definitely from the PTCGO ladder at various points. This is another very difficult card to get online, or a very, expensive, valuable card to get. I've got 4 full art Junipers, one of them being trade locked. I definitely got it from the ladder. This is actually the current ladder. I think it ends today, though, is Professor Juniper. So go ahead and try to grind some games if you haven't gotten it yet. I've got 3 Getsis here. I think this is another one that was on the ladder at one point, which is why I have a locked version. If I have a locked version, it either means I got it from the ladder or I got lucky enough to open it from a locked pack at some point. So yeah, and then you'll see like just these playable, super playable cards, VS Seeker, Trainer's Mail, all these gold. Like this era especially, I was always going for the gold. I do not have Plasma Freeze gold Ultra Balls. Unfortunately, I never got around to trading for them, but I did get the Sun and Moon ones when they came out. And I still love this card. I think it's really pretty, but just, man, doesn't have quite the appeal that the old school ones have to me. And you can see like this era, beginning of Sun and Moon, middle of Sun and Moon, I definitely was always trying to get the gold cards, and I still tried to do it more recently, but it's just so much more difficult. You can kind of see around here, I'm not worrying about it quite as much. I did end up getting 4 radars, but I never got 4 crystals. I never got 4 Pokegear, never got 4 Pokemon Communication. Same thing with Cherish Ball and Reset Stamp. I've definitely played 4 of all of these cards, basically. A lot of the full art trainers as well. I just ended up I never got 4 full art Greens Exploration. I definitely played a ton of Greens decks. Never got 4 Coach Trainer. I played a lot of decks that played 4 Coach Trainer. It's so much more difficult now than it used to be. So just not something I ever got around to. Got the 4 Research, 4 Marnie. Of the newest set, I actually think the Research, if I remember correctly, were a gift from a follower over on the Twitch stream. So big thanks once again to anyone who ever donated cards to me. to utilize online. Let's go ahead and I'm going to do the Heartgold Soulsilver series and show some of these cards because these are definitely desirable as well. I have a lot of locked versions of some of these cards because I've opened them from packs, but we got some tradable ones like Fisherman. This is actually a reverse holo Fisherman is definitely a desirable card for sure. Junk Arm is a big one. We've got 3 tradable ones there, 5 locked. And then same thing with the reverse holo as well. We've got 3 tradable and 2 locked. Usually because Junk Arm is such a playable card in the Legacy format, and it usually trades for 5 or 6 packs, something like that. If I remember correctly, it's been a while, like I said. But usually on the release day of a set, you can post a trade of like one of the new packs for 1 Junk Arm, and it'll almost always go through. And then you can even turn and flip that generally for like 1 or 2 for like 2 of that new set. So because people are always looking for Junk Arms if they're getting into Legacy. I've got 13 twins. Somehow this was definitely in like some theme deck bundle or something like that. 1 reverse holo one. I love the reverse holo aesthetic of the Heartgold Soulsilver cards on PTCGO. It just looks super good. But yeah, so there is the trainer cards. Oh, I didn't show. Let's turn off. I think filters are turned off. The main one here, I do have 4 copies of Tropical Beach from Worlds 2011. I did not play in Worlds 2011, as you guys know from what I said earlier. I started playing around when Ancient Origins came out. So I got these from from Sean Leiden, who actually runs Full Grip Games, and he had a code, and I ended up trading a ton of packs for these guys. Back at the time, I think this was like 2017 time frame, I traded like over 1,000 packs that I had collected. And if we go to look at my packs selection, I hoard packs because they're the trade. This is how you get cards on PTCGO, is trading packs for codes, or sorry, trading packs for the cards you need. So I had hoarded and saved and grinded trades and gotten up to 1,000 packs. And I made a post on Twitter. I'd made posts in Facebook groups saying, hey, these are the packs I'm offering for a playset of Tropical Beach. And someone put me in touch with Sean. Sean DM'd me on Twitter. We talked about it. He had the code, actually, which he was trying to sell me the code, which, makes sense. But I had all the packs online, and I think I overpaid for what they were worth at the time, but I was totally fine with it because I just needed the cards. I wanted to get the cards, guarantee that I would get them, and because I was willing to I think at the time I probably could have, more reasonable value would have been around 800-ish packs. So I overpaid by at least 50 packs a piece on the beaches, but I was fine to do that because finding someone who had 4 they were willing to trade is definitely difficult, and trying to trade for them on the PTCGO trade market is impossible. It's so difficult because you're maxed at 100 items per trade, and so you have to trade things like the Secret Ultra Balls. And there's a lot of equating, this card is worth this much, so that means that I need this many of this card in order to get this card, and it's just a lot to mess with. So I was really glad I was able to do a private trade with Sean to get these, and I used them so much. I've used them a ton over the years for many videos and all of that stuff. And now to get this card, it is 1,000 packs for 4 of these would be a deal. There are people who, like I've said, guys, you cannot sell online cards. I do not condone the selling of online PTCGO cards. A lot of people do it though, and this card sells for 150 to 200, or 150 to 180 real life dollars, US dollars. So this is $600 of cards right here, just these 4 cards, which is kind of crazy. The market on PTCGO is definitely a very real thing, and it's difficult to get this card, and it's very playable, and they have shown no signs of making any more. I do not have any 2012 beaches, but I'm okay with that because this is the correct art. You can't play the other art, right? This is the correct art of Tropical Beach to use. So there we go. Let's move on to the energy here, and then we'll go to gameplay items to close things out. So Ticking the holo option. As you can see, I have a ton of Secret Rare Energy. I was all about the Secret Rare Energy when they first came out. Sun and Moon base set through the first few Sun and Moon sets was like the height of my, bling collecting. And so I was very much all about it. As you can see, I got 12 Secret Rare Metals, 10 Secret Rare Psychics, and all of these guys, I remember trading like 4 or 5 packs a piece for these, which at the time was a pretty good deal. They were probably worth around 6 or 7, maybe like 10, something like that. I remember getting pretty good deals on all of these. But now, like, these energies are worth so much on PTCGO. You're talking like 50 packs a piece for Metal Energy and Psychic Energy, and like especially with and the price, the value of these energies is totally dependent on how popular that specific type is at any given time. Fairy used to be the most expensive one because it was very difficult to get. The 3 Burning Shadows energies are very difficult to get. As you can see, I don't even have any playable amount really of any of them. We've got 2 Secret Rare Darks, 3 Secret Rare Fairies, and 2 Secret Rare Fires, all from Burning Shadows. Burning Shadows is a huge set, and they're the 3 most desirable Secret Rare Energy types, so it makes it very difficult to get these cards, and making them much, much more expensive. And up until Fairy was announced that it wasn't going to be being printed anymore with Sword and Shield base set, this was like a 100 pack plus card easily. Now it's definitely dropped a bunch, but as you can see, like, I've got definitely playable amounts of Psychic, Metal, Lightning, and Fighting. Grass, I had enough for whenever Decidueye Vileplume was a thing. You would play 4 to 5 Grass Energy generally in that deck. And like, I've had enough. Like, a lot of the mill decks nowadays are playing like 2 Fire Energies, so I could rock some Gold Fire Energies in that instance. And yeah, so there's my Secret Rare Energies. I do have some older energies we can show off. Some of the Call of Legends energies. I used to really go for these before the Secret Rare Energy came out. I never really got around to having full sets for many of them. Water, I was pretty good on because, Greninja would play 6 Water Energy, and that was basically the only water deck at the time except Water Box, which needed like 11 or 13, something like that, so I never got around to that many. I did have 4 Reverse Hollow Rainbows at one point, but at some point I traded them. Traded one of them away for something I don't remember, but this is another card that's worth like 20 plus packs. And Reverse Hollow DCE, never something I got around to. But this is also a very expensive card on PTCGO. And it's not showing up right here. Oh, there it is. This is a very expensive card on PTCGO. And it's just something I never got because I got the Secret Rare DCEs, and I was definitely fine with that. But these are definitely difficult to trade for and pretty valuable in their own right. I already showed off all the packs that I have currently. I guess we can open up we got a locked gold chest. Let's open that up real fast. Hollow Rare Reward chest. Little live opening in the middle of this video. This is way longer than I thought it was going to be. But I guess it makes sense because I have so many cards on this account. And then we'll go ahead and move over to the gameplay items. I don't really have anything as far as the avatar stuff goes. I never got into... I mean, there's definitely very collectible stuff in this category. Never something I got around to. But we'll look at the gameplay items now there. Now, gameplay items is where the most valuable things on PTCGO exist. I'll just show these right here. The Deoxys Vivid Deck Box and Sleeves, the Mewtwo Vivid Deck Box and Sleeves, Thundurus Vivid Deck Box and Sleeves, and Victini Vivid Deck Box and Sleeves are the most expensive items, are some of the most expensive items in PTCGO. These were gym items. You could only get them with gyms, and they were out very early on in the game's existence, and so there's just not a lot of them out there. These are worth... Like, I don't know the exact values of all of these, but I know, like, the Thundurus and Victini are some of the more desirable ones, and they are worth, like, 10,000 packs a piece per set. 10,000 packs per set of deck box and sleeves. That's crazy. Now, people are super into these. I've never got into trading to trade for those things. It's probably a good thing because I probably would have tried to find a way to do it, and I would have these very expensive in-game items for no reason at all. But I do still have some pretty cool, desirable ones. Like, I love these sleeves. I use them all the time. These are trade locked to my account. This is another thing where they used to release these in the in-game item shop, and I really wish that they would do this still. Releasing things like deck boxes and sleeves in the item shop is a great thing to spend coins on, and they haven't done that in a very long time. So if you bought them with coins, they were trade locked. If you bought them with gems, they were tradable. So there are tradable versions of a lot of these items out there, but they are very expensive and very difficult to get. Same thing with the deep red Pokeball sleeves. The Druddigon deck box and sleeves is another desirable set. I don't have the Melodic set. I never bought it because I didn't like it at the time, and I really wish I had just gotten it. I definitely had the coins for it, but I just never got it, and this is probably one of the more desirable modern card sleeve sets and deck box sets, but I just do not have it. I've got most of the ETB sleeve sets. I don't have all of them, though, for sure. I've got some cool ones like the Flareons. Like, I've got a lot of the Evolution ones. Garchomp, definitely the Silhouette deck boxes, very cool. Another thing that is difficult to get unlocked, but having the locked versions on the account I'm definitely fine with. I'm pretty sure I got all the Evolutions at some point. I might have missed out on one or two of them. These are the only gameplay items still in the item shop, these Kanto sleeve sets, which are cool, but it's been like 2 years and they're the only things in the item shop. Meshing Gears and Pokeball Burst card sleeves I definitely like. The Pyroar sleeves are super cool. Where did it go? There we go. Pyroar card sleeves, super, super cool. We got the Sylveon, the Umbreon here, and then this is one of my favorites as well, just the textured Pokeball card sleeve. This is just such a simple and like easy design. I just love it. I think it looks great, and I use these pretty often as well. Got the Xerneas and Yveltal sleeves. These were from those promos that we talked about earlier. When you bought the promos, they came with these sleeve sets. I've got two sets of the 2013 sleeves. These are from the World's Dex 2013. All of these are the World's Dex versions. So there's two versions of from 2014 onward. 2013, this is the only version of the 2013 deck boxes and sleeves, which came from the World's Dex. But the other years, there are two versions of all of them. There is, here, let me just show. There is an attendee version right here, attendee deck box and attendee sleeves, and then there is the just regular ones that would have come with the World's Decks. So I've gotten all the ones that came with the World's Decks. The attendee versions are much more desirable and much more sought after than the regular versions now. I did play in Worlds 2017 and 2018, and I was at Worlds 2019, but I never ended up using my codes from Champions Festivals. I actually ended up selling all of my Champions Festival packs with the codes still inside them, because usually, you know, you could get $100 or so for each pack, and so I just never really worried about it. But if you do ever end up playing in Worlds and get this deck box and sleeve set, they are pretty desirable on PTCGO, usually worth between 50 and 80 packs a piece. The older ones maybe a little more nowadays since you can't find them anymore. And you could even trade these as part to try to get things like Tropical Beach, if those are pieces that you want for your collection. But yeah, that is my Pokemon TCG online collection. All of the highlights there, some of my favorite cards, some of my memories of trading for very expensive pieces, and it has been something that has served me very, very well over the years. And I say all of this to bring something new to light, maybe just to talk. I'm making this video basically to talk about the fact that I'm not going to be using this PTCGO account anymore. I spent years and years and years building it up, like I said. I've kind of showed now all of the pieces that I've worked for in my collection, but as many of you may be aware, I'm actually currently a caster for the Pokemon Company International at their regional championships. I did cast Dallas Regionals and Collinsville Regionals this year. And then, of course, everything happened with COVID-19, and we, have not been out and about doing regionals and stuff like that anymore. But one of the perks of being a caster is in order to stay up to date on the meta and be in tune with everything that is going on, I get access to a master PTCGO account, which has access to all of the cards in the game, and that will allow me to easily build decks and make sure that I'm up to date with what's going on. So we're going to go ahead and hop over to the new account, and I'll go do a quick tour here showing you guys what a PTCGO master account looks like. Alright guys, so here we are logged in to my new account. This is my master PTCGO account, which anytime new cards come out and are available in the game, they will be automatically added to this account for me. So that'll make it very easy for me to test and stay up to date on what is going on in the Pokemon trading card game meta, so that I'm able to, provide the best information when I'm doing commentary. But it's also going to be a huge help to me with creating content, especially with the new set coming out this week, going live on PTCGO. So just real quick, I'll show you guys every single card on this account is trade locked, and I have 4 copies of each individual card. So let's look at some of the cards that we were looking at on the other accounts, like the Regirock here. I've got 4 copies again here, trade locked, not able to get rid of them. Let's move over here to Tropical Beach. Got 4 copies of each one of these, so I'm very thankful to Pokemon for giving me the opportunity to have an account like this so that I can make great content, but also the reason I have it is not for content, is forecasting, but I am still able to just I have the opportunity to use it for my content. And this is one of the things I'm most excited about, is that it is going to make it very easy for me to play Legacy, and I'm excited about this. I think the Legacy format is very, very cool, but it's never something I got to dive into super deep because the cards are definitely a little harder to get. But now I'll get to have an opportunity to do a lot more experimentation. I can do some more videos on the Legacy format, so I'm excited for that. And then also, when the new cards come out for Rebel Clash, it'll be pretty easy for me to just go ahead and start building decks right away and hop in and start testing them right away. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm going to be streaming over on Twitch this week whenever the new set goes live. So if you're not following me over there, definitely make sure you do that. The link is in the description of every single one of my videos. So I can't wait to start grinding and testing out some of the new set with things like Dragapult and Boltund, and we're going to try a lot of fun decks as well, like Toxtricity and Phalanx and all that stuff. Definitely very excited. But yeah, as you can see, there's really not much to show because it should just be self-explanatory, right? If the card exists, I have 4 copies of it, basically. There are probably a couple cards here and there that I don't have, but they're usually just going to be like duplicates and stuff like that. So, I guess I could look real quick, right? Show not owned. Oh, okay, so there are some cards here. Okay, so so these are like the trainer kit cards. Okay, so the trainer kit cards, looks like I don't have those. But that's okay because these are cards that, are reprints of other versions of cards that existed already. So, no big deal at all. Or cards that... Wait, is this the only art... No, here it is. It's just a different artwork, so no big deal. Definitely not something I need or anything like that. But, so I guess there are a few cards. I thought that this would have everything, but... It looks like it's basically just the trainer kit cards that you don't have access to. Oh, and some of the newest promo cards as well. But, we've got all of the, every gold card as well that you could ask for that I could want. So I'm not actually going to be using full bling when I build decks with this account because it feels weird to use the max rarity cards when I didn't work hard and trade for them, right? So I'm just going to be using my regular low rarity stuff on this account most likely, and we'll go from there. And also because you only get 4 of each energy card as well. Now there is definitely the there's an option for one that's unlimited of each type, right? Hang on. Game's being slow today. If I type in Dark Energy, I can add infinite Dark Energy. Oh, I need to... Why is it being so slow? It's freaking me out. Or Fire Energy, maybe. But, like, I don't have infinite of the secret rare energies of each type, if that makes sense. So, even if I wanted to do full rarity for that, I can't do it. I guess it doesn't show up on this screen. It only shows up in the deck building screen. But I also do have 20 energy of the, like, regular of each type, which is almost always going to be more than enough. But yeah. So some of the basic energies you don't have access to, but that doesn't really matter. Because, yeah. This account also is trade locked, so I'm not able to trade cards to this account from my old account. So I can't trade in, like, my other secret rare energies so that I, like, can get closer to having enough to play with. So that's a little unfortunate, but, like, I mean, doesn't really matter because, you know, I have access to all of the cards. And then gameplay items here. You don't have any extra gameplay items added to the account. Just all that was here originally was the red Arceus Coin. I got these from the shop for 2 theme decks whenever I was doing challenges trying to level this account up. 1 Fire Reward Coin. And I bought these deck boxes. I actually bought this code on not on PTC Geostore. They didn't have this code, but I got it on eBay. Which has the Arceus, Genesect, and Zoroark deck boxes, which I want to utilize to put standard decks in this Arceus deck box, expanded decks in the Zoroark one, and then legacy decks in the Genesect one. So that'll make it very easy when I'm building decks to find them. So as you can see here, we've got some standard decks. I haven't built any expanded, but I've definitely been messing around with some legacy stuff with the new account. And we can hop over and look at the statistics here. I got it earlier this week, or I guess last week, and this is my stats so far. 131 games. I've definitely been playing a lot. 28 upset wins. As you can still see, though, I am still 0 days played, so I haven't hit that 24-hour mark yet, I guess. But already 46k damage. Not too bad, not too bad. And collection stats, all sets completed. So we've got all the pieces to the puzzle and all completed. Most of 1 card, Timer Ball. Interesting. But yeah, there's kind of the tour of the master account, master PTCGO account, as you might like to call it. I grinded a lot this week because it is a brand new account, so I was very low on the ladder ELO. I was facing a lot of, like, theme decks or, like, modified theme decks and stuff like that. But I've gotten it up now and I'm playing against real decks, so I'm going to be using this account moving forward whenever I'm making videos and when I'm doing live streams. So thank you guys for all the support, as always, over the years. You know, I always loved whenever people would comment on, like, my blingy cards and stuff when I was doing streams and stuff, because I did work really hard to try to trade for a lot of them. But now this is kind of like the peak of my online PTCGO, you know, collecting. It's kind of like come to a point where I don't have to worry about that anymore because now I have access to this thanks to being a caster. So I gotta say, huge thanks to Pokemon for allowing me to have this account. It's very helpful, of course, for the casting purposes, and very, very helpful for making content as well. So hopefully it's going to make it much easier for me to get stuff out to you guys much more quickly, especially as new sets release. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Definitely make sure you're following me over on Twitch. I'm excited to be streaming the new set Rebel Clash this week. I'm going to be streaming as soon as the set goes live over on Twitch on Thursday, so definitely be sure to follow me down below, clicking the link in the description. And thanks as always to PTC Geostore for their support. Great place to get codes for the newest set with instant code delivery, so you don't have to worry about waiting to get your codes, which is a huge part whenever you're trying to play on release day. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks as always for the support, and that is going to do it for me. I'm going to get out of here, and until next time, guys, take care.